For a young, hungry fighter to suffer such a dominant loss at such an early stage in his career, it can be absolutely devastating. It can be absolutely a game changer, a career ender for those who don't possess the mindset of true greatness. But that is exactly why I truly believe that Canelo Alvarez, not only is he pound for pound elite, the pound for pound king in the sport of boxing currently, but he's an all-time great, because the first setback, the first sequence of adversity that he was met with in his professional career, man, did he learn from that loss. You see, a lot of people say that you either win or you learn, but you don't really see that in the performances after the loss. A lot of fighters become gun shy, just like Anthony Joshua after losing to Andy Ruiz. He just can't be, he's just not able to be the Joshua of old, the aggressive, ferocious, tenacious Anthony Joshua that we're used to seeing. But when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, when he lost versus Floyd Mayweather, and actually it was my first time watching Canelo Alvarez compete. I remember watching the fight live, and I was in awe of Floyd Mayweather's spectacular, phenomenal reflexes and defensive tactics. But after losing that fight, something clicked, something switched in Canelo Alvarez's mindset. If you guys remember, he actually tried to outbox Floyd Mayweather, which is why he got dominated in that fight and he got outboxed. And he just outclassed him, let's be honest. But what you do after the loss is what truly counts. You know, there's something in the sport of boxing that they crucify, and they just crucify anyone that loses, that O in their record. And in MMA, that's not the case, because when you're truly fighting at the elite level, even if you're better than your adversaries, but not every time are you gonna step in to the octagon or to the squared circle at 100%. Maybe you're just not feeling it that day. Maybe you just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Now, for the normal occupation, it's okay to have a bad night at the office, because nobody's gonna notice except your colleagues and workmates. But when it comes to the sport of boxing, you suffer your loss and you go through those tough, trying times in front of millions around the world. And Canelo Alvarez, after he lost that fight, he actually found out something that made him an all-time great, that made him the pound-for-pound king. One main key that Canelo Alvarez learned is the fact that do what got you to the dance. Don't try to play the game of your opponents. Do what you're best at, which is why, unfortunately, we saw Anthony Joshua suffer a dominant loss to Usyk, because he tried to outbox Usyk. And I don't think that was his game plan, actually. But I think he felt the speed and power early, and he was stung. And he was like, you know what, let me just stick behind my jab and avoid getting knocked out. But when it comes to Canelo, he tried to outbox Floyd Mayweather, but then he lost. But ever since that night, whenever Canelo Alvarez stepped into the squared circle, he only did one thing, what he's good at. Be a tenacious, ferocious fighter. A fighter that pushes the pace early, works the body, aggressive, feinting with his eyes, with his hips, with his shoulders. Establishing dominance not by proving a point to your ego that you're gonna outbox the greatest boxer of all time, probably. But who knows? All credit, you gotta give all credit and all respect to Floyd Mayweather. But who knows if they would have fought and Canelo would have just stuck to what he knows best. But even if he beat Floyd Mayweather by outfighting him, not outboxing him, by roughing him up, chopping down his body, destroying his body, just like he did with his last like 20 opponents. Like after that Floyd fight, Canelo just switched on. He became a different breed, he became a different animal. And that is what separates the all-time greats, the pound for pound elite, from the extremely well decorated, from the extremely well coached fighters. One loss is all you need sometimes to remind yourself that, you know what? In all my career, when I fought Floyd Mayweather, I was 44-0. I believe Canelo was like 44-0. And in all those 44 fights, his game plan was always the same. Push the pace, be explosive, be aggressive, chop down the body, suffocate the opponent standing in front of you with your pressure, with your presence. And he learned that after that Floyd fight. He was like, you know what? I can't afford to do what is not my forte, what is not my main asset and attribute, being a slick boxer with an insanely fast twitch muscles and reflexes like Floyd Mayweather. And that is why I truly believe that Canelo Alvarez is an all-time great. Lost that fight, and ever since then, he always fights in the style that suits him best. And this is something that Anthony Joshua can learn from in the rematch versus Usyk. Seeing such an all-time great like Canelo Alvarez overcome adversity, come back to the squared circle doing what he does best, and that's fight. Destroy the body and then going up top. And I truly believe that this is a blueprint for all the young fighters, for all the upcoming talent, even for all the champions right now who might be faced with adversity or trying times ahead. Learn from such elite, not just skill set, but mindset. Canelo Alvarez.